You are so close to meeting your bun in the oven. As you are setting up the nursery and putting items on your registry, you want to make sure you have clean, safe baby products. Today we are speaking with Chase and Stefanie, the founders of Stork and Sun, on why they came up with their clean baby products and how to navigate the overwhelming amount of items offered to new parents. Thank you for joining us. This is Preggy Pals.
Is that a plus sign?
Pink or blue? Hospital or home birth?
What type of food should I be eating?
I think I just peed myself. I'm pregnant and I have to exercise.
What pregnancy glow?
Wait, was that a contraction?
Gotta make these pants fit. I've got kinkles.
What do you mean there's more than one?
You've got the symptoms, and now you've got the support you need for a happy 9 months. This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
If you haven't already, be sure to visit our website at newmommymedia.com and subscribe to our weekly newsletter, which keeps you updated on all the episodes we release each week. Another great way to stay updated is to hit that subscribe button in your podcast app. And if you're looking for a way to get even more involved with our show, then check out our online community. It's called Mighty Moms. That's where we chat more about the topics discussed here on our show and also an easy way to learn about our recordings so you can join us live. Our experts today are Chase and Stefanie. Their journey began when they were expecting their first child, and like many new parents, they wanted to make the best choices for their growing family. They quickly found themselves navigating a sea of baby products, many of which came with lengthy ingredient lists and marketing that felt more confusing than comforting. So they took a step back and asked themselves, what would we want in a baby product? The answer was clear. Simplicity, transparency, and products that align with a lifestyle centered on love and care. And that's how Stork and Sun was born. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you please tell our listeners where you guys are located and the age of your kids?
Hello, and thank you for having us. We are currently located in Ohio, and we have one child right now, a little boy named Ryer. He's 20 months old, and we are due in February with our second.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to jump into our first break, and then we will be back with more questions for Chase and Stefanie. Today we are discussing safe baby products and where you can get your hands on them. So we're just going to jump right into these questions. So let's chat first about your first pregnancy. Did you know that you wanted to use clean products during that pregnancy?
I did, and it became very overwhelming very quickly. Looking at all the different products and seeing all the marketing tools that they were using. I'm not as familiar with ingredients lists as my husband is. Okay. So I would go to him all the time and say, okay, what does this one do? What does this one mean? Why is this in here? And that's how we, started. Well, he started educating me, I should say. And then we started making a list of what was going to be our preference for our child.
So in general, Chase, is your household a pretty clean household with like the products that you're using, or did that kind of all start to shift during pregnancy?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we try to, stay away from a lot of the highly produced, whether it's food items or drink items. But as with any new parents, we tried to kind of ratchet that up to the next degree. And that's when we really started to kind of evaluate and inspect the different labels and what were in them as far as the baby products.
Gotcha. And Stefanie, how did that ease your stress during pregnancy? How did you find comfort in finding those safe products?
It definitely did ease my stress by knowing that what we were using, we were comfortable with, and we were happy with the ingredients that were in it, and that we were doing the best that we could for our child. I will say that when we first dove into looking at the products and like you don't just stop at food. You're looking at cleaning products, you're looking at your baby diapers, your wipes, your like the sanitizing wipes that they're selling and all these other products. So it was a slow transition to get there because we obviously wanted to, once you start diving down this rabbit hole, it is exactly what I said. It's a rabbit hole. You go down
Right.
it and you are there. So we just started transitioning everything out. And for my type A personality, that's very budget conscious, I'm like, well, we're not going to throw that away yet. We'll finish using it and then we'll move on to something better. And luckily we were able to do all of that before the baby came, because it can also become very expensive very quick.
Right. And I guess I start to look at products, and something that might be deemed a safe product might not be really a safe product. So how did you go about really, I know Chase understands and looks at those labels, but did you hit roadblocks, I guess, of like, this is a safe product, or we believe this is a safe product, or it's marketed as a safe product, but then the ingredient list doesn't really match?
Absolutely. In our world, you're going to find that anywhere. You're going to think something's okay, and you're going to read about it. You're going to find articles on it, and you need to trust your gut in what you're reading and what you're seeing. But at the same time, we're constantly evolving as humans as well. So, they were saying that, things that they said were bad for you 20, 30 years ago are not coming out, and they're saying, well, that's not too bad. That's actually not what's the cause. So Chase was my ingredient person for sure. And then I just relied on the internet like any other mom does.
Perfect. Well, yeah, we all do. So Chase, for someone who's not well versed in ingredients, I know like glucose and the very simple ingredients if I look at something, but where might I go, or what tools and tips and tricks do you have of determining what all of those words on the back of packages actually mean?
Yeah, sure, Emily. So there are a couple of different methods you can go about. One that we frequently visit is the EWG. They're extremely good for whether it's organic or more natural, or a little bit on the safer side. So we use that as a little bit of a reference point. At the end of the day, you can simply just type in whatever ingredient you don't recognize. Just type it into Google and kind of go through and really research it and figure out what it is.
Okay, well, perfect. And as a whole, what tips can you give expectant moms who might find themselves in that same bubble as you? I know you guys kind of hit on it a little bit with researching and going to the internet, but what other tips and tricks can you provide or double down on to help them navigate this environment that we're all kind of inundated with right now?
What I did, again, I am completely type A, is I made an Excel spreadsheet, and I had it down from like bedding to bath to food to all these other different categories. And I would write what the product is. I would write where I found it. I would put the link there so that I could go back to it, obviously at the best price, because I am very budget conscious. But then if there was something I didn't like about that product, I had a section in there where I put what I did not like about that product, whether it was some ingredient, or if it was packaging, or if it was like how a lid was, or how these, how my friends had said, oh, well, these diapers don't seal very well. And I would, I've got friends with kids, so I would help, go over, help them change their diapers. So I'm like, I don't like that. That's not what I would want to use. And I would just make sure that I had my notes. If you're not type A like that, which is totally understandable, I also hid my baby registry until I had to release it, because you can just add whatever you want on there and then go back and filter through.
Right. Yeah.
And it already makes it divided for you.
That's great advice. I also type A personality. Spreadsheets are my love language. So I totally resonate with that. That is fantastic advice there for some of our moms out there who might find themselves in the same situation.
Well, and the other part, Emily, from a husband looking in, Stephanie also did a great job of where there's certain instances with social media, whether it's just looking for different opinions. She got involved with some different social groups that, if nothing else, they can give you opinions. And then what you try to do is just collect as much of that information as possible and see where there's kind of redundancy and then really start drilling down on those products that more and more people are mentioning and recognizing.
Yeah, that's great advice. The definitely getting in, and I kind of do I am like a mole, I guess. And when I go on social medias, I never participate in any of the social medias. I just look at what everybody's saying and what everybody's recommending, and then adding that to my Excel spreadsheet. It's like I saw somebody say this and they've now said it 12 times, and maybe I need to look into this more because somebody talked about it 12 different times. So yeah, that's some great advice as well.
The other thing to keep in mind with just piggybacking on what Chase said is that it's good to have that spreadsheet, because as moms specifically, we get in our head about something and we want to do it and we want to figure it out and we want to solve the problem right away. And sometimes dads are not in that headspace, or they're in the middle of a project, or they're off, on a business trip, or whatever it is that they're doing. So having that reference to go back to also eases that anxiety, because it's both our child. We need to come to the decision together. And that was really important for me too, was to make sure I gave him the time to review what I had found.
I think having that kind of communication, again, that's huge. It's important. My husband and I run opposite schedules. We both work days, but I sleep 4 hours a night and he's like a good 8 to 10 hour sleeper. And so between the hours of like 9 and 1 o'clock in the morning, those are my beautiful hours of quiet in the house with my kids sleeping and him sleeping. And that's where all of like my research and ideas and all of this happens. And then we have a Google Doc that we just share, and I just drop notes into it, and he gets notifications of like, Emily has 6,000 ideas between last night and this morning. And so then he's like, gets up at 4 a.m. and I don't necessarily need to see the sunrise. So he'll go through those things, and then we'll be ready to talk about it by like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And that, I think, is another great way of just like keeping each other updated on things, especially when we're in this cycle of not always being in the same room or the same state at the same time. And how do we make sure that conversation happens and both parties are on the same page in the same book at the same time?
100%.
This was great. I'm so excited to jump into the next section. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come and talk all things Stork and Sun. And I have a lot of questions for you too. All right. So let's talk Stork and Sun. Tell me about the company, the product, how you came up with this name. I want to know it all.
The name kind of came from, obviously, Stork has the representation to babies. So that was kind of the thought there, a little bit of a kind of differentiator from a lot of the other current baby care products. And then Sun, I think Stefanie and I both really enjoy the sun, whether it's down in Florida or on a beach. We both really enjoy it. So that's kind of where the company name came from, was the combination of both Stork and then our enjoyment of location.
Awesome. So what necessarily is your product? Where are we going to find it? What can it do?
Sure. So right now we plan on releasing a full array of products, but our current first product is going to be a 2-in-1 wipe meant for both skin and surface. That product can be found on our website at storkandsun.com, just like it sounds, STORKANDSUN.com.
Okay. What other, can you talk about the other products or your ideas, or are you guys still in the conceptual part right now?
Sure. So most of the products right now are still in concept. Don't want to disclose too much, but at the end of the day, our kind of mantra or mission with this company is to create products that make life easier and more convenient for parents.
Awesome. So they will or may align to what we're going to see on the shelf with other brands, but in a clean fashion.
Yeah, and I think we're taking it one step further where
Okay.
you look on the shelves now and a lot of the current brands are, say, 100, 150 years old, and they really haven't had a need to really evolve. So that's where we're kind of trying to come in and revolutionize the industry and create products that are new and different from current products.
And more for our generation of parent lifestyle. We're a lot more on the go. You've got two working
Hmm.
parents in most households. And even with being a stay at home mom and having a dad or vice versa, kids are getting out and they're going out in the world more younger and younger. So to make that
Hmm.
easier for parents to be able to bring their kids along so they can have those experiences and not dread, oh my gosh, we have to pack so much stuff to take all these kids out. We want it
Yes.
to be an easier process for them.
And I think every mom listening to this will agree and be like, yes, thank you, because it's 3 suitcases for my child to get out the door. And then like I get a backpack. And I'm like, how does this happen? And it's so many things. And each thing has one specific use. And my husband, bless him, he's like, just rub some dirt in it and call it good. And I'm like, oh, honey, like, but we have like all of these things. And he's like, I don't know why we need 12 items to do 12 different things. Like, if there was one item to do all 12 things, that would be great. And so it sounds like you guys are kind of on the same page as my husband and getting it to be more streamlined for parents. And so we're not having to overwork ourselves, and we can and I love the idea of a skin and a surface wipe, because we like, your kids are messy and they have something on their hands and they've rubbed it on the table, and now we have 2 different products that we're having to use instead of one that's going to do both things. So that's fantastic.
Exactly.
So what's feedback been like? Tell me where you guys are at with product testing feedback. How have people responded?
Yeah, absolutely, Emily. So your point, one of our basis was to minimize the ingredients. So we started with 99% water, and then
Okay.
we have only 6 ingredients total, which are
Wow.
all listed on the website. What we did with those, to your point, some are a little bit more technical, we'll call it. So we lay out on the website exactly, just as easy as possible, what those actually ingredients are and what they do. We thought that'd be hugely beneficial for the moms and other customers out there. The main ingredient behind it is actually coconut oil, because it has antimicrobial and antibacterial properties in nature. So that's what we kind of move forward with. Not only does it have those properties, but it's also moisturizing as well. So that was kind of the ingredient list behind it, and the feedback. We've been between family and friends now for about the last 3 or 4 months through the different iterations, and they've absolutely loved it. I'll let Stephanie talk a little bit about her different girlfriends and whatnot that have used it. But yeah, the feedback has been absolutely great on the product.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to hear more.
So the feedback has been wonderful. My husband is a fantastic entrepreneur in the fact of he knows, or if he doesn't know, he will figure it out how we need to start, what we need to do, and where these products need to come from. So he started with an array of baby wipes and just sizing and texture. And I want to say that started almost 2 years ago. And so from there, we picked the wipe, we picked the pattern on it, we picked the size, we picked everything. And
Okay.
once, we got down to 2 of them that we liked, we tested them out on our own little prototype and we figured out which one we liked the best. And then we put it out there and we added the coconut oil, gave it to friends and family. And we've had rave reviews on how the moisture actually is staying within the wipe. They're not drying out when you get to the bottom. They are staying nice and hydrating. They are able to clean some of the hardest things that get on surfaces, like syrup comes
Oh,
right up.
wow.
But it also is, again, gentle enough for the baby's toughest messes in their diaper. So
Yeah.
it's been wonderful. to hear that feedback, because it's been a long time coming, especially for my husband, with all of the work that he put into making this packaging and product. And, we would talk to them about some changes that we made to the product, and we wanted everything to be convenient for one parent to do as well. Sometimes changing a diaper, you pull out a wipe and it's just like a clown taking something out of his sleeve. You're just getting so many wipes with it. We didn't want that. We didn't want there to be any waste. We wanted a top that somebody could hold their baby's legs with one hand while they're screaming and fighting with them to change their diaper in public and pop the top to grab it and go. So we definitely tested it out ourselves, and very excited, and we're very happy that everything that we have thought of, we have heard from our friends. I'm so glad somebody put this in a wipe. I'm so glad somebody did this.
That is so reassuring. I love that. And I definitely, my kiddos are older now, but they're still messy. And so definitely something that our house will definitely be looking into. And I'm excited to see how they work, and especially the syrup. If you can get syrup off of things, I'm all for that. Oh, well, we've got some more questions coming up, but we're going to take a quick break. All right, welcome back to Preggy Pals. We are continuing our conversation with Chase and Stefanie. So from each of you individually, are there any last words of encouragement or wisdom that you would like to share from Dad's perspective and from Mom's perspective with our listeners?
First of all, congratulations. This is a beautiful time. Even if you really dislike being pregnant, it is a beautiful time, because I promise you in the end, it will be worth it. If it's not your first, you already know that. But if it is your first, I promise you in the end, everything will be worth it. You are going to have a beautiful baby that is going to be the perfect combination of both you and your partner. And the one thing that I will say is, do not feel like you need to have or do everything at once. If you don't have, obviously you need some things right away, like a car seat or anything. But if you don't have the cutest outfits, if you don't have whatever, you're not going to leave the house right away. You're going to go to the doctor with them. And depending on how your delivery goes, you might not feel like going out, and that's okay. So I feel like every journey is beautiful, and we will end up missing it, at some point. Might not be right then in the moment, but you do not need to have everything right when you get home. And if you need it, the hospital will give it to you for you to have for the time being. So don't feel like you are the worst parent in the world if you don't have that $150 or whatever baby carrier right when you go home.
Absolutely. Great advice.
And I think to add to all the husband and dads out there, just be supportive. Like we said previously, do your research. At the end of the day, try things. We've tried so many things, Stefanie and I, that some worked, some didn't. But at the end of the day, don't be hesitant and don't regret not purchasing something or researching something. Just make a decision and roll with it. That's, I think, the best thing for dads and husbands out there is to be supportive and try to make the right decisions.
Awesome. All right. So I know Chase directed us a little bit earlier of where listeners can find products, but where can listeners stay connected with you or your team at Stork and Sun? What other ways do we have of getting in contact or making sure that we stay up to date on your new products that might be coming down the pipeline soon?
Yeah, absolutely. So the main form of communication would be the website, and we've got a sign up there for newsletters and updates. We also have a Facebook and Instagram page with Stork and Sun, so you can find us there. We'll be linking and uploading different articles, different products, anything really relevant to making the parent's life easier and more convenient.
Fantastic. Well, this was so informative, and I learned so much. Thank you both for being here today and joining us for this episode. For the listeners out there, be sure to check out New Mommy Media, where we have all of our podcast episodes, plus videos and more. And this information will also be linked on this podcast, so you can easily find Stork and Sun and Chase and Stefanie on their socials. That wraps up our show for today. Thanks for listening. If you love Preggy Pals as much as we do, please consider checking out the amazing businesses that sponsor our show week after week. And we'd also love for you to tell another new mama about this resource, which of course is absolutely free. And if you want to check out some of our other podcasts that we produce, such as Parent Savers, The Boob Group, and Twin Talks, then visit our website at newmommymedia.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more information, giveaways, and more. Our handle is at New Mommy Media. Thank you for listening to Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording, so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.